The 16th century marked a period of profound change in the Americas, a time when the destinies of entire civilizations would be irrevocably altered. European powers, driven by the allure of gold, the pursuit of glory, and the fervent desire to spread Christianity, set their sights on the New World, eager to claim its riches and souls. Among these ambitious powers was Spain, whose encounter with the Maya civilization of the Yucatan Peninsula would forever alter the course of history, leaving a legacy of both destruction and transformation. The Spanish conquest of the Maya, spanning over a century, was a brutal and complex period marked by relentless violence, fierce resistance, and profound cultural transformation. This essay delves into this tumultuous era, exploring the key events, influential figures, and far-reaching consequences of this dramatic clash of civilizations. The Maya, with their sophisticated understanding of mathematics, astronomy, and art, had built a thriving and complex civilization in the Yucatan Peninsula centuries before the arrival of the Spanish. Their impressive city-states, adorned with towering pyramids and intricate carvings, stood as enduring testaments to their ingenuity, cultural achievements, and architectural prowess. However, by the 16th century, the once unified Maya civilization had undergone significant political fragmentation, weakening their ability to resist external threats. This internal division and strife among the Maya city-states would ultimately play a crucial role in the Spanish conquest, as it made it easier for the invaders to exploit these divisions. The first Spanish expedition to reach Maya territory was led by Francisco Hernández de Córdoba in 1517, marking the beginning of a new and tumultuous chapter in Maya history. Landing on the Yucatan coast, Córdoba's men encountered fierce and determined Maya resistance and were ultimately forced to retreat after suffering significant losses. This initial encounter, though brief, provided the Spanish with their first glimpse of the Maya civilization's strength and resilience, foreshadowing the long and bloody conflict that was to come. The stage was set for a monumental clash of worlds, a collision between two distinct cultures with vastly different values, beliefs, and ways of life, each struggling to assert its dominance. The Spanish conquest of the Maya would prove to be a long and arduous process, fraught with numerous challenges, fierce battles, and significant setbacks for both sides. It was a story of ambition and greed, of cultural misunderstanding and religious zeal, as the Spanish sought to impose their will and beliefs upon the Maya. The consequences of this encounter would resonate for centuries, shaping the social, cultural, and political landscape of the Yucatan Peninsula and leaving an indelible mark on the Maya people, whose legacy endures to this day. The Spanish conquest of the Maya was not a single decisive event, but rather a protracted struggle that unfolded over generations, spanning nearly 2 centuries. It was a gradual process of subjugation, marked by periods of intense warfare interspersed with uneasy truces and strategic alliances as both sides sought to gain the upper hand. The conquest began in earnest in 1527, with Francisco de Montejo's first attempt to conquer the Yucatan, a region known for its dense jungles and resilient inhabitants. Montejo, a seasoned conquistador who had participated in the conquest of Cuba, faced fierce resistance from the Maya and was ultimately forced to abandon his campaign, retreating in the face of relentless opposition. Despite this initial setback, the Spanish remained determined to bring the Yucatan under their control, driven by the promise of wealth and the spread of Christianity. Subsequent expeditions led by Montejo's son, Francisco de Montejo y León, and his nephew, Francisco de Montejo y León el Mozo, gradually chipped away at Maya resistance, employing a relentless strategy of attrition. The Spanish employed a combination of military force, political maneuvering, and religious conversion in their campaign of conquest, often using brutal tactics to subdue the Maya. They exploited existing rivalries between Maya kingdoms, forging alliances with some Maya rulers against others, a divide-and-conquer strategy that proved effective. The fall of the Itza Maya in 1697 marked a significant turning point in the conquest, signaling the near-complete domination of the region by the Spanish. The Itza, based on an island in Lake Pitén Itza, had fiercely resisted Spanish attempts at conquest for over a century, becoming a symbol of Maya resilience. Their defeat symbolized the final subjugation of the Maya heartland, a moment that marked the end of an era for the indigenous people. However, it's important to note that pockets of Maya resistance continued in remote areas of the Yucatan Peninsula long after the fall of the Itza, showcasing their enduring spirit. The long duration of the conquest had a profound impact on both the Maya and the Spanish, reshaping the cultural and political landscape of the region. For the Maya, it was a period of immense upheaval and suffering as they faced the destruction of their cities and the dismantling of their societal structures. Their once great cities lay in ruins, their political structures were shattered, and their traditional way of life was irrevocably altered, leaving a legacy of loss and resilience. For the Spanish, the conquest was a costly and drawn-out affair, testing their resolve and forcing them to adapt their strategies to the unique challenges posed by the Maya, ultimately shaping their colonial ambitions in the New World. The Spanish conquest of the Maya was driven by a cast of ambitious and often ruthless individuals, each with their motivations and ambitions. These figures were not just soldiers, but also strategists, explorers, and opportunists, each playing a unique role in the unfolding drama of conquest. At the forefront of this conquest were the conquistadors, hardened veterans of Spain's imperial expansion, seeking wealth, glory, and land in the New World. Their experiences in previous campaigns had made them both fearless and relentless in their pursuit. One such figure was Francisco de Montejo, a veteran of the Cuban conquest, who envisioned himself as the ruler of a vast Maya kingdom. His ambition knew no bounds, and he was determined to carve out a legacy for himself in the annals of history. Montejo's relentless pursuit of conquest, though ultimately unsuccessful, set the stage for the eventual Spanish subjugation of the Maya. His campaigns were marked by fierce battles and strategic maneuvers that weakened the Maya resistance. His son, Francisco de Montejo y León, inherited his father's ambition and played a pivotal role in the conquest. The younger Montejo was not just a warrior, but also a diplomat, understanding the importance of alliances in achieving his goals. Unlike his father, Montejo y León adopted a more conciliatory approach, strategically forging alliances with Maya rulers who were willing to submit to Spanish authority. This approach allowed him to gain control with less bloodshed and more cooperation. This shrewd strategy allowed him to gradually expand Spanish control over the Yucatan, culminating in the establishment of Mérida as the Spanish capital in 1542. Mérida became a symbol of Spanish dominance and a central administration. Another key figure was Pedro de Alvarado, a conquistador known for his brutality in the conquest of the Aztec Empire. His reputation for ruthlessness preceded him, and he brought the same ferocity to his campaigns against the Maya. Alvarado's incursion into the Maya highlands in 1524, though ultimately unsuccessful, further weakened Maya resistance and paved the way for future Spanish expeditions. His actions created a ripple effect that destabilized the region. The conquest also involved key Maya figures who, through alliances or opposition, shaped the course of events. These leaders were not passive victims, but active participants in the struggle for their land and people. While the conquistadors were the driving force behind the conquest, it was ultimately sanctioned and supported by the Spanish crown. The monarchy's backing provided the necessary legitimacy and resources for the campaigns. The Spanish king, driven by the desire for wealth and the expansion of his empire, provided the legal framework and resources that enabled the conquest to take place. His vision of a vast empire fueled the ambitions of the conquistadors. He issued decrees, granted land to conquistadors, and appointed officials to govern the newly conquered territories. These actions ensured that the Spanish hold on the new lands was both strong and enduring. The complex interplay between these individuals, driven by ambition, greed, and the pursuit of power, shaped the course of the Spanish conquest of the Maya. Their actions, decisions, and conflicts left an indelible mark on history. The Spanish conquest of the Maya was achieved through a combination of military superiority, political maneuvering, and the exploitation of internal divisions within Maya society. The Spanish arrived in the Yucatan with a formidable arsenal of weapons and tactics that far surpassed those of the Maya. Their horses, armor, steel swords, and firearms gave them a decisive advantage in battle. The Maya, armed with obsidian-tipped spears, atlatls, spear throwers, and wooden clubs, were ill-equipped to withstand the Spanish onslaught. However, military might alone did not secure Spanish victory. The Spanish skillfully exploited existing rivalries and divisions within Maya society. They forged alliances with Maya rulers who were eager to overthrow their rivals or regain lost territory, pitting Maya against Maya in a deadly game of power politics. These alliances provided the Spanish with crucial manpower, intelligence, and logistical support, enabling them to penetrate deeper into Maya territory. Beyond military might and political manipulation, the Spanish conquest was aided by the unintentional introduction of European diseases. Smallpox, measles, and influenza, brought to the Americas by the Spanish, ravaged the Maya population, who had no immunity to these foreign illnesses. These epidemics weakened Maya resistance, decimated their populations, and disrupted their social and political structures, making them more susceptible to Spanish conquest. The Spanish also employed religion as a tool of conquest. The Spanish crown viewed the conversion of indigenous peoples to Christianity as an integral part of its imperial mission. Franciscan friars accompanied Spanish expeditions, preaching the gospel, converting Maya to Christianity, and often playing a mediating role between the Maya and the Spanish authorities. The conversion process, however, was often brutal and forced, with the Spanish destroying sacred Maya temples and idols in their attempt to eradicate traditional Maya beliefs.